Welcome to Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. In today's show, we'll get some more understanding into what Thomas Jefferson meant when he said, agriculture is our wisest pursuit because it will, in the end, contribute most to real wealth, good morals and happiness. The Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries Year in Review sheds light. Stay with us for this and more. The news is next.
Join us on Thursday, January 18 on Jamaica Magazine for a look at the Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology's 2017 Year in Review. Groundbreakings, public Wi-Fi connectivity, MOU signings. The Ministry was building prosperity through partnership this past year. That's January 18 on Jamaica Magazine, the Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology 2017 Year in Review, right here on this station.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, January 15. Government will be reviewing the policies and procedures surrounding the management of childcare facilities to ensure they meet national standards. Prime Minister Andrew Holness gave that directive to the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information in the wake of Tuesday's early morning fire at the Walker's Place of Safety on Lyndhurst Road in Kingston. The fire started at the privately run facility at around midnight, claiming the lives of 2 children. Prime Minister Holness and his wife Juliet visited the site of the fire as well as the nearby church where the children were being temporarily housed yesterday.
I'm very saddened by this, and Juliet and I are deeply, deeply saddened by it. It certainly brings to the forefront the need for government to make sure that places of safety are actually safe, that the places that we provide for our children who are less fortunate or who are under the care of the courts or who are in need of special care, that those places that the government provides, that they are safe places and truly are meeting the standards that the society would require.
Education, Youth and Information State Minister Floyd Green also told JIS News that the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, CPFSA, had begun its internal review into the incident.
Look at all the processes, speak to our staff, hear what they have had to say, the process that they took, look at things like our monitoring, ensure things like fire drills, all of those things we are going to look at internally so that we can see if there were any weaknesses in our system.
In the meantime, he said the ministry's Smile Mobile and 2 clinical psychologists were at the location and had started play therapy with the younger children and separate sessions with the older wards who were closer in age to the children who died. He said support was also being given to the staff, while grief counselors had been dispatched to work with the families of the deceased children. And while the Child Protection and Family Services Agency utilizes its emergency supplies to care for the children displaced by the Walker's Place of Safety fire, donations are being encouraged from the public.
We have a collection center at 48 Duke Street, which is the former CDA office, the Child Protection and Family Services office, that people can give. There is a number that people can call. Clearly, a lot of people are using social media, so they can reach out to us on social media. We can also provide facilities where we can try and collect what they have to offer. So wherever they are in the island, we have offices in every single parish. So they can go to the CDA office in any parish, or they can contact us directly and we will go and collect.
Persons wishing to make donations can call 948-1250 or visit the CPFSA website and Facebook page. The OCR is also taking donations at its Carlton Crescent location. And Prime Minister Andrew Holness has endorsed the setting up of a fund announced by Member of Parliament for the area, Leader of the Opposition, Dr. Peter Phillips.
I will be in touch with him to see how best I can contribute to that fund in the spirit of serving our children. And I would encourage all Jamaicans to contribute.
The Walker's Place of Safety served as a transitional residence for children who have been abandoned or removed from their homes because of unstable conditions. CEO of the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, Rosalie Gage Gray, says they are ensuring the children maintain a sense of familiarity as they move them to the 3 homes identified for their relocation.
We have a number of siblings. We are keeping them together, and we will make sure that they are in the same facility. and the staff who was there with them will move with them as well. We are dividing them and putting them to the 3 facilities that we are sending them, so that there's a familiar face for them to get them settled.
In other news, the National Water Commission, NWC, is working on a feasibility study for the installation of a 5-megawatt photovoltaic system at the Mona Reservoir. President of the NWC, Mark Barnett, says the plan is to place solar panels on a floating barge, which will be used to harness energy from the sun. He told a recent JIS think tank that the Commission signed a memorandum of understanding with the Petroleum Corporation of Jamaica to carry out the pilot.
We are looking to install just about 5 megawatt of renewables. Once it is demonstrated, it is feasible. We are looking at other facilities as well. And in total, we want to put up at least 10 megawatts of renewable, which will impact not only NWC, but it falls right in line with the sustainable development goals that has been established, to which Jamaica is a signatory to.
The NWC is now inviting bids for the floating barge. Sport Minister Olivia Grange has named former national players Ian Pepe Goodison and Oberon Peterson Natty as ambassadors for Insports primary schools football and netball programs. She made the announcement at the press launch and official draw for the playoffs in the Insports National Primary School football and netball competition.
Their role will be to provide insights and knowledge about the game to the youngsters in a manner that will inspire player participation and a genuine focus to represent the country at the highest levels as they develop.
Minister Grange urged student athletes to do their best, promising that her ministry would be doing everything to ensure they excel. And finally, the sport minister is hailing Jamaica's women's bobsleigh team on their historic qualification to the 2018 Winter Olympic Games to be held in Pyeongchang, South Korea in February. This is the country's first women's team to qualify for the Winter Olympics. In a statement congratulating Carrie Russell, Audra Sigree, and Jasmine Fenletter Victorian, Minister Grange also commended the coaching staff and the Jamaica Bobsleigh and Skeleton Federation for their work in preparing the athletes to compete on ice. The qualification of the women's bobsleigh team for this year's Winter Olympics comes 30 years after Jamaica's men's team first appeared in the Winter Olympic Games in Canada. The men's team also have a chance of qualifying for the Pyeongchang 2018 Winter Olympics. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
We want a productive Jamaica. We are not productive Jamaicans. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity is the way to go for all us Jamaicans. Small business, big business, old and young, we are tell every woman and man. We want growth and prosperity for a better nation with a building plan. So we can build our product and sell our product and put more money in our hand. Our economy can rise to a level and build a better nation. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity.
Productivity, pathway to prosperity. A message brought to you by the Jamaica Productivity Center, a department of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security.
2017 saw the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries improving the legislative framework and facilitating major investments in infrastructure and or human capital. Take a look at the year's activities to see how these contributed to a more rounded environment for growth.
– 2017 was a big year for the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries. As it battled heavy rains, pest attacks and millions of dollars in damage to the sector, the ministry was vigilant in its efforts to strengthen the industry. Here are some highlights, starting with agriculture. Continuing with plans to enhance the sugar industry, government completed the standards governing the packaging and labeling of brown sugar.
Only approved entities will be allowed to buy and sell bulk sugar packaged in 50-kilo bags.
Cane farmers in Trelawney and St. Elizabeth benefited from a $248 million contract to rehabilitate roads used to haul sugarcane in the parishes.
With the improvement in the road, it will make a tremendous difference in the travel time and the general efficiency of moving the cane to the factory.
In 2017, government launched the Jamaican Standard Specification to regulate and protect local coffee brands, and later mandated that coffee imported, packaged and sold locally must be mixed with Jamaican green bean.
We have to ensure that, and we certainly will hope that those agents of the world who try to pirate our brand will also have to go through a process of testing to certify whether or not what they are advertising is the genuine product or just that they are pirating our brand.
Registered coffee farmers also benefited from an $80 million initiative to improve and increase their yields. After the April to May rains caused nearly $800 million in damage to the sector, government intervened to help farmers rebound. Beet armyworms also caused millions of dollars in crop damage. $17.7 million was spent to assist affected farmers. $50 million was also committed to provide crop care and productivity support for implementation of the National Irish Potato Program, and $5 million was allocated to boost operations within the agro parks.
We have taken steps. We've taken the initiative to extend the Hounslow irrigation system affecting 500 farmers.
400 farmers are now beneficiaries of an industrial well pump that was commissioned at the Plumwood Station in Manchester.
And the commissioning of this pump and irrigation system will ensure that farmers in the area have greater access to a consistent supply of water.
A MOU was signed to develop the island's first solar-powered irrigation system at the Moneymusk Sugar Factory. Local pig production saw an 11% growth quarter against quarter throughout 2017, 38.9% more than 2016. Bee farmers in Hanover and adjoining parishes profited from a state-of-the-art honey extraction and bottling facility. 7 multi-use agro-processing incubators were also constructed across the island under the Jamaica Social Investment Fund's READY project. This will allow persons to manufacture a wider range of products. The agriculture sector continues to grow, but so too does fisheries, which saw several improvements this past year. The fisheries bill was tabled in Parliament in September.
It broadens the decision-making process, and it will enhance the way that the people who are engaged in this industry feel about expanding their investment, because it will give them a greater sense of ownership of the industry.
The ministry subsequently reported a rebound in fish production after experiencing years of decline.
Today, aquaculture production hovers around approximately 600 metric tons per annum. That's a far cry from the 7,000 tons in 2007.
Markets in China were secured for the export of Jamaican aquatic products. Meanwhile, a new lobster regime for the 2017-2018 season was implemented and approved. The new regime will facilitate the granting of lobster licenses in an equitable manner. On to the industry and commerce sectors. The Cannabis Licensing Authority, CLA, approved the granting of 2 full-fledged licenses, one for the cultivation and the other for the processing of marijuana.
I must say that Tier 1 is the majority of the applications, and it covers approximately 1 acre of land. So these are small entities.
The MSME policy green paper was amended and tabled in the House of Representatives in November.
The revised 2017 policy is consistent with Government of Jamaica's commitment and efforts to have the document updated on a regular basis to respond to changing socioeconomic developments and dynamism within the MSME.
Revolutionizing sectors, creating opportunities and paving the way for new business ventures. This has been the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries 2017 Year in Review. I'm Theodore Henry. Pleasant viewing.
There's a growing concern for the number of persons who have fallen prey to human trafficking. As part of a holistic response, the Ministry of Justice has designed a manual to help healthcare workers assess and identify victims of this act of modern-day slavery.
Trafficking in persons is a serious matter. It is perhaps a larger problem than many people understand, and health plays an important role because oftentimes these persons may present at health facilities because of any crisis that may arise, any health crisis that may arise while they are here in Jamaica or while they are held in these kinds of circumstances. And so it's very important that our healthcare workers engage in primary care, emergency care, mental health, pediatrics, and so on, are positioned to identify such persons. The development of the management of suspected victims of trafficking in persons protocol for health workers is therefore a step in the right direction, which is designed to be used as a guide and contains pertinent information concerning the identification and protection of victims. And it provides guidelines relating to the stabilization of patients, importance of confidentiality, requisite documentation, consent, and referral of suspected victims. So I want to congratulate the Task Force Against Trafficking in Jamaica for the completion of this document, and of course to recognize the work and the support of the Ministry of Justice and the Ministry of National Security in this important document. And that as many as 88% of sex trafficking victims may end up at our health institutions. But I understand that only a small percentage of our healthcare workers are confident and have some degree of knowledge with respect to identifying a trafficked person. So we need to look at how we get this training done. We have to break this cycle of violence. Clearly the health sector has a very important role to play in this regard. Training has been done in the past, but we do have turnover of staff. So it's very useful that there is the training plan, which would include training of some 500 health workers starting in 2018. And the training will include a wide cross-section of healthcare workers, both in the public and the private health sectors.
The Creative Industries Education and Employment Program SEEP was launched in April 2017, offering training for youth in 3D animation for feature films. The World Bank came on board, and country manager Galina Sotirova had this message at the graduation for the first cohort.
Today, certificates of competence will be presented to those who have successfully completed the program. And I am happy, on behalf of the World Bank, that these graduates will help to strengthen the animation industry in Jamaica. I was advised by the project manager that the apprenticeship and business development programs are scheduled to commence in early 2018. These programs will result in a significant increase in the ability of local animation studios and freelance animators to participate more effectively and profitably in global animation business opportunities.
The Creative Industries Education and Employment Program SEEP, giving hope to Jamaica's youth.
There is no tolerance under the Child Care and Protection Act for physical abuse of any child. What am I saying? That a parent has no right to slap her child or his child? I don't think so. I think you can. I think there is some leeway there for discipline. But some of the abuse cases that we have seen and we have experienced, that's not discipline. That's literal hate. And if you parents can even stop sometime and think about that reason why you're going to raise your hand or that belt or that stick to hit. Sometimes it has nothing to do with what the child did, you know. It has to do with how it made you feel.
The Early Stimulation Program is an early intervention initiative for children with disabilities from birth to 6 years old. Here's a look at how they've been changing and touching the lives of children and families with special needs.
I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Here is the rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day.
The Early Stimulation Program is an intervention assessment catering to the various developmental needs of children with disabilities from birth to 6 years old. The program operates through the Ministry of Labour and Social Security under its Integrated Social Protection and Labour Program.
The Early Stimulation Program is an excellent program, and it provides intervention for children with developmental challenges from 0 to 6 years old, whether physical or mental challenges. It identifies and it intervenes at an early age.
The program is to assist these children who are sometimes left behind, disregarded, stigmatized, to reach their highest potential and to be mainstream, whether into the special education program or the regular education system.
Approximately 30,000 children have been assisted by the Early Stimulation Program, ESP, since its inception in 1975, and over 6,000 of them have been placed in regular primary schools or special education centers. Children in the program have varying types of developmental disabilities and are all ably catered for through intervention strategies employed by specialized professionals.
Our stimulation exercises look at least at 5 developmental domains. They look at the language of the child, the cognitive, the social and emotional, the growth and fine motor adaptive. This helps us to sort of set their program and to take them through the developmental process.
Children who are brought to the Early Stimulation Program are usually referred by the hospitals, infant and basic schools, and by social workers and guidance counselors.
When they are referred, what we do is a developmental assessment to see where they are, and then we put together a program tailored to meet their developmental needs.
The work of the ESP is not limited to the centre. Child development officers are also in the field, working with children at schools, nurseries, and also in communities through home visits.
They receive other assistance through the ministry, the PAD program, for adaptive aids, wheelchairs, eyeglasses. They are part of the PAD program, which gives further assistance. Also through small rehabilitation grants that assist the families of these children to better help themselves.
A number of improvement projects are being implemented, which will provide the students with resources to improve the quality of their learning. Of note is the new $87 million multi-purpose facility built at the ESP location on Hanover Street, downtown Kingston, to replace the building that was there. Funding was provided through the Inter-American Development Bank's Integrated Social Protection and Labour Program.
This modern center represents and provides a new lease on life for children with disabilities whose well-being and welfare will be further enhanced. The ESP currently provides care and support to over 1,500 children with disabilities island-wide, and the services are available to persons from all strata of society.
This is a very significant milestone because it's the only service of its kind that's provided by the government of Jamaica, where children can be provided with assessment and early intervention, and it also helps the children to benefit from the services that will help them to be the best that they can be.
The new facility now boasts an administrative block, assessment clinic, staff room, multi-purpose meeting room,
receptionist and waiting area, assessment rooms, sensory and speech therapy room, physiotherapy room, green space, and play area.
Children, when you see their faces, then you know that they are satisfied, and it will only help them to fulfill their potential. In terms of the staff, they are elated, they're excited, they're happy, and of course feel appreciated for the work that they have been doing over these years. And so this will only help them to do more and to be more productive.
Once you visit one of these homes, you can feel the genuine love oozing from the people who teach them. They're not called teachers, they're called aunts. And the children have bonded with them in such a positive way.
I don't know how to manage without this place. Just don't know how to manage. The staff at the stimulation program, they let our babies feel like human beings. You know, you feel special, you know. Words can't explain.
My child both feet were twisted. And this program has helped him to get off the twisted foot because he couldn't walk. He's now walking, running, he's all over the place, on his toes. This program has done marvelous for him.
She coming here, she wasn't doing anything but carrying her to the early stimulation. She started creeping, she started holding on, she started getting up off her own. And it make a big difference to me because when I used to have her home, she wasn't doing anything at all. But carrying her here and to the physiotherapy, yes, it's work. So no more crying for me. This stimulation here helps us because we are poor, we can't afford, you know, the other places. So this helps us to know more about our child and also to stimulate our child to get better. And we meet other parents that is suffering the same way that we are feeling, you know, and help us to get over our problems. They take us to seminars, you know, differently from our sessions that we have here at this building. So he has improved a lot. And it's not me alone see it either, don't it, Si?
As the ministry continues to serve children with special needs and their families, our aim is to build on the foundation of this assessment center and multipurpose facility and strengthen the pillars of accessibility and range. For in serving our community of persons with different abilities, we can achieve a desired society which is inclusive, participatory, and empowering for all.
I would like to say to parents, don't sit there and wait saying you don't have the money or you can't afford to. It is free. Come in and have your child assessed and begin the intervention program with your children with special needs. The sooner the better. Don't sit and wait.
For further information on the early stimulation program, call 922-5585 or visit their office at 95 Hanover Street in Kingston.
Thanks for tuning in to Jamaica Magazine. Do keep in touch on our social media pages, YouTube channel and our website. And don't forget to download our app from the Google Play Store. I'm Adrian Atkins, and until next time from the entire JIS team, do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.